1. All right, we're on. Episode 17. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for listening. It is just me and Charlie again this week.
Yeah.
Whilst we're in the middle of figuring everything out when it comes to where we're going to continue to do this.
Yeah.
So we've got some guests lined up coming forward, but just trying to move some bits about so we can get them all in order.
Yeah, get a possible new studio. At the moment, we're in my in my gym, tucked out the way with the jerk blocks behind and everything going on. But
it is quite cold in this gym.
It is actually genuinely cold in this gym.
Yeah. They need a log burner. They should get a log burner. So if you could contact the owner of this gym, actually, that'd be fantastic, and send him down to Usk Stoves in Mamilad. And if he says, I listen to the podcast, I really like the podcast, can I have 10% off, please, when I buy my log burner or stove or, what's it called? Like kindling, the things you put into the stove?
Yeah.
The log burner. 10% off. Cheers, guys.
Sound. All right. So, big things are happening in both our lives at the moment. So,
yeah, you snatched 110 for a while.
Yeah, and you've moved house. Yeah. So, how have you been, mate? How's life?
Mate, I've had the most stressful weekend. But you know what? It is stressful, but you want to be doing it. It's like being really busy with work when this is all you've wanted. Like you wanted to do this job and now you're doing it, and it's still stressful nonetheless. So we spent 3 days moving house. Usually you have to do it all in one day, because otherwise if you move stuff in before it all completes, you can claim squatters' rights.
Yeah.
And so they very kindly, the owners of the house we've moved into, let us move our stuff into the garage, and there's like a stable attached to it.
Just to say it's yours.
Yeah, but
claim this land.
Yeah, so we moved a load of stuff in over Saturday and Sunday, and I took a padlock with me just to lock it up, because the garage was empty, so they was just left wide open. So I put a padlock on it, and then they rang me going, what's the code for the padlock? Because you've actually locked us out of our own house. So I was like, I promise you this is an accident. I'm not claiming squatters' rights. And we got moved in on the Monday, but we've had a couple of hiccups since then.
Yeah.
So when we were, this actually really annoyed me. So when we were moving in on the Saturday and the Sunday, the guy was there, the owner of the house, and I moved the big Disney castle. For anyone who's not seen, like the frozen Disney castle,
it's a big castle,
the massive plastic one, right to the back of the garden against this wall. Didn't think anything of it. I put all the kids' toys there, and the guy didn't say a word. Everything went through. We moved in on the Monday, and I popped next door, so it's literally next to a chip shop, to say hello to the owner. Hi, I'm Sam. I've just bought the house next door.
Yeah.
He shook my hand. He said, hi, Sam. Nice to meet you. Can I show you something? And I said, yeah. Walked me into my own garden with the light on his phone, and he showed me this hole in the wall, literally a foot away from the kids' toys, with a massive rat's nest there. And I was like, why would you let me set my kids' toys up without telling me that there's this? Obviously, he didn't want the house sale to fall through. But if you could have just told me that, I could have sorted this out weeks ago and got a guy out. So I wasn't massively happy with the fact that there was a rat's nest next to the kids' toys.
That's proper dull, proper naughty as well.
It wasn't very good. Yeah. So there's pest control coming out tomorrow to have a look. But I was fuming the night. I thought I'm just going to fill it with petrol and just set fire to it. But it's probably not the best.
First day of the new house, massive fire outside.
Not the best way to move in.
No.
Abby said you can take the boy out of Cumbrawn, but you can't take Cumbrawn
just
out of
set
the boy.
the wall on fire, set the chip shop on fire, go to prison, class.
No, but good weekend of, I'm glad that's over with. Yeah. Like it's everything needs doing on the house, and it's going to be a nightmare, but it's our nightmare, and I'm actually quite excited to get it all done, or at least start it. So that was the weekend, and then training wise, I thought, I can't really say to Abby, right, it's 2:00, I'm going to nip to the gym. I'm going to pop to the gym for 2 hours. I'm going to do my squats and whatever I had to do. And then I'm going to coach, because she's obviously at home, massively pregnant, having to sort all the stuff out. So training for me at the minute is going to be 3 days a week in the morning. I think I'm literally going to do, like, tomorrow morning, I'm going to squat. I'm going to do some weighted chin-ups and some dips. And that is me.
Nice.
And then each day is going to look something similar. So it'll be like a squat or a pull from like some sort of legs, a push and a pull. And then if I've got time for like some accessories, I'm going to leave it there. But my training is a little bit less exciting than yours, because you had a pretty good day.
Yeah. No, training's been going well at the moment, and it's it was a good day last Friday. Just a good training session with the boys down at UFit. Ended up trying to do some snatch singles. Hit some snatch singles, and they were all moving really well. and I snatched 110 for a single, which I snatched before, but I've never doubled it. I've tried it many times. I've tried it with you, I think.
Yeah, you and Pewy.
Yeah. And I've tried it many times where I've snatched the first and missed the second, or missed the first and then hit the second. I've never put the two together. And I didn't really tell anyone that I was going to do it. I just kind of said, I'm doing singles. And then once I hit the first 110, I thought it's too good not to have at least a crack at it. And then it moved really well, and it kind of surprised me, and not surprised me. I kind of knew I could do it. I knew I wanted to do it. So it wasn't a surprise when I got it, but it was just that everyone was like, you were doing singles, and then all of a sudden I did the first one, and you could see everyone went, oh, well done, and went to carry on with what they were doing. And then I just stepped back up to the bar, and everyone was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, it was just one of those moments where it was just have a crack, find out. If I make it, I look cool. If I don't care. You know what I mean? So it was a case of have a go, and now I've walked away with a PB, which is
it's a hard one, isn't it? Because you say to clients sometimes, right, don't go off program, don't do this, don't do that. But sometimes
there's a time and a place.
Yeah,
there's a time and a place, and I've got plenty of clients who they wouldn't mind me mentioning that are the complete opposite, who I would actually love for them to tell me, and I love it when they do tell me that they're like, look, it felt really good today. I've gone off program. And it's usually when the confidence is there and they're feeling fired up and they're feeling ready for whatever reason, or their version of fired up. When I say fired up, I don't mean, your typical, I'm throwing stuff around and it's, some people's version of fired up are just quiet and contained, and then they just go out and lift and they do really well. Like I've got a client called Lunid, who she's really, really lovely lady. Yes, really quiet, really sort of, really talented weightlifter, really technically good, but struggles a little bit with the kind of self-belief, as we all kind of do. But then you put her in a pressured environment, which you would think that, okay, she would struggle with this. All of a sudden, she just performs. And it's like you could put her in a lifting class full of very, very good weightlifters, and she doesn't shy away, and she just performs. And she'll regularly kind of say to me, I trained on my own, and I couldn't snatch this, or I missed this, or whatever. And I'll say, it's okay. I guarantee it'll come Saturday on the weightlifting classes that I do, or it'll come where she comes in with one of her friends or whatnot. And all of a sudden she's put 5 kilos on that and she's snatching it for doubles. And you're like, there you go. Just have fun when, strike when the iron's hot. Just, if it's there, put it in. The wrong way to look at it is if you're a bit of a knobhead like I used to be, and many other people used to be, where it's a case of, you go in and you just max. You just go, oh, this feels good today, I'm going up. And it brings me on to one of my points that I've actually written down for my athletes, because I want my athletes to listen to this. It's the thought process behind your training isn't always to max out everything. It's great when you have a maximum. It's great when you have fun, when you max a lift or max a squat or max or whatever. It's great. But some things in your training aren't there to be maxed. So there's variations that you'll do which are there for confidence, or there for technique, or there for just to be light enough for you to recover from the previous cycle. Just because they are moving well doesn't then mean, okay, in 4 weeks I'm going to max this. Because the point is, you want them to move well, because that's the objective. Whether it's maybe, I'll say to someone, I'm going to give you this particular exercise to change a technical fault. Well, it's meant to make you feel like you're doing well, because it's changing a technical fault. If then you suddenly go, oh, that felt great, I'm going to max it, and you start fucking up and missing, and then the fault comes back.
I was literally about to say,
you're defeating the whole purpose. And there's plenty of things that we love to do as lifters, weightlifters, crossfitters, where you'll have the sensation of, you'll have a barbell in your hands, you'll be moving, you'll go, oh, that felt fucking great today, that felt amazing. And the temptation to go, I'm going to slap another 10 kilo plate on or whatever, and you have to go, it's not there for that.
It can be frustrating, because you see the whole thing as a coach. You might give them week by week, or you might give, right, this is the next 6 weeks or whatever. But at the end of 6 weeks, this is when we want to hit these big numbers. And then if you start hitting big numbers in week 1 and week 2 and you're maxing out off plan, the goal for that was to just move really well and sort out some issues that you had at 70, 75, 80%. And then if you're, using everything you've got, for lack of a better phrase, in week 1 and week 2, that it just isn't there in the following weeks. If you're constantly maxing out, you haven't sort of tapered or peaked towards anything. You haven't sort of sorted out the problems you originally had. And like you said, when I'm moving well, 70% feels great, and then I go to max, I just keep maxing out and getting heavier with those things. The problems that you were trying to fix creep straight back in, and you haven't really achieved what you were trying to achieve.
No, a training program is there for a longer period of time. You're not going to build a massive amount of strength in the first 2 weeks of a program. The first 2 weeks is just purely like adapting to what the actual session lengths are like, the volumes like, the movements are like. You're just learning. And some training blocks you will take to them like that. Like I've had conversations with one of my athletes, Meg, when we first got together. It would be I'd be picking exercises that I knew she'd be good at, because she lacked a little bit of confidence when we first started. So I thought, right, these are the exercises that I know that Meg's gonna like. So as soon as I gave them to her, she went, I really like these, can I go up? And and we've had jokes, and she's posted videos of her being like week 1, day 2, and she's already asking me, can she go off of percentage? And I'll openly say to her, Meg, no, it's week 1, day 2.
What have you achieved in
by
2 days?
By the time this week comes back around, if you've gone up, well, next week, your stimulus, you should realistically go up again. Because you want to have that overload, you want to have that gradual, whether it's maybe not always in weight, maybe you just add an extra set or add an extra 2 sets. But what you very rarely do when you're programming is go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, because you don't see the correlation of, we want to see this gentle curve of, we started here, we want to finish up here somewhere. But if on week 1, day 2, you're already up here, well, then the only place you've got to go is up or right back down.
Yeah,
so
you hit a brick wall a lot faster. And it's funny because I know Meg absolutely understands that. I'm sure she has athletes that say the same thing to her. And she says, no, hang on now, because we got to take this somewhere within 4 to 6 weeks. We're not just finishing here. But then when it comes to you, because I've done the exact same thing, the amount of times I used to text my old coach and be like, went off program today. I pulled 230 and I'm a bit sore today. And
exactly
he's
that.
Right, well done on your deadlift, but you're a fucking idiot and you knew this was going to happen. So why would you do it? You just said then about not so much about time frames, but the journey of training and it has to go somewhere. I had a client the other day, right? So his name's Sam. He's like a mate who's been at the gym anyway. And he said, I want to put on some size and just, get bigger and stronger over winter. He was like 96 when he started kilos, and he's 6'5". And he's put on we've been quite reserved with the food. We've been in a 300 calorie surplus, and we're going into week 4 next week of strength work, and then just bodybuilding. All the accessories are just volume. And he's up to 100 kilos already, and he is just filled out you wouldn't believe. His forearms and even the vascularity, he just looks so much bigger already. Anyway, he said something to me that I was quite almost proud of, where he said, in sort of my training in the next 5 years, and I thought, you're looking at this.
Wow, that's very insightful for someone to say that.
Exactly, how you should in this, instead of in 2 months I want to put 20 kilos on my deadlift. If you said to me, I want to put 80 kilos on my deadlift in 5 years, I'd go, fair enough. That could be done, obviously depending on where you're at. But he said about that, and he looked at training in such a broad time horizon. I thought, you've got a good grasp on this. You sort of understand how it works.
When
he's just been patient with it as well so far.
When you said 6'5", when you said 95 kilos, I want to bulk, I thought, this guy's going to be a bit of a chunky guy. And then when you said 6'5", I was like, no, that's really not.
He's
6'5"
lean,
frame is
lean, athletic, and he hasn't really done that much structured strength work in the sense of he goes to CrossFit, he shows up to the class, pretty strong guy. I think he's got a 170 squat, so very respectable squat.
For someone who's 6'5" as well.
That's a long way to go.
Yeah, that's a long old leg.
200 kilo deadlift. And for someone who's not specifically gone, right, I want a bigger squat or deadlift.
Yeah. That's good. And very good numbers.
He said after 4 weeks, I feel stronger.
Yeah.
And I said, good, it's working.
That's brilliant.
Just stick with it.
Having that time frame as well just gives you so much scope for everything that you kind of want to achieve, and also allowing new goals to happen at the same time as well, because he's going to have 5 years is such a long time for him to go, I fancy doing this now, I fancy doing that. But the overall goal of him gaining weight and gaining strength is just easy.
Things will fluctuate along the way. Like, you're not going to bulk for 5 years.
He's not saying, right, by Christmas I need to be this, and putting all that pressure on himself to suddenly like blow up. But it's like, right, when it happens, it happens. When I get there, it get there. But I'll just keep chipping away until
he dies.
Yeah.
What's that Bill Gates thing about people overestimate what they can do in a year and massively underestimate what they can do in 5 years? So again, if you looked at the trajectory of your training over 5 years, you can do insane things. Training. But people like me as well, like massively me, lose sight of like goals, or things happen with life and with kids and shit like that along the way.
So going into more of the training side of things, because I got a couple of points with this, because I've been in amongst my athletes and in amongst other people and training for me at the moment is very gritty, very hard, but very varied, which is great. So for me, I'll have heavy volume on one day, and then I'll have very light, and then I'll have heavy singles, and then I'll have very light, and the variation is really suiting me at the moment, and I'm performing well on it.
When you say heavy volume, like,
so it would be let's say like yesterday I had front squat 5s, but I had like a peak top set of 5, so it was like build, get there, done. But then I'll also have complexes where I'll have snatch pull, above the knee hang snatch, overhead squat. So it's like lots of reps, but then lots of sets as well. So it'll be lighter weight, but it'll be, instead of doing one top set at it, I'll be doing like 6 sets of it. So I'll end up doing like close on 30 reps during the whole session of just that variation, and then move on to the next thing. Like I had me and Tom Eaton, we did my to be fair to him, I got to give him a shout out. He's a brilliant training partner. He's the type of person that he rocks up to the gym and he's in bits and he's aching and sore. And I went and visited him down in Cardiff, and I said, look, I'm coming in, what do you fancy doing? He just said, I'll do what you do. Just off the cuff came in, and I said, look, I've got clean jerk, then clean and jerks, and then I've got the most monstrous pulls. I've got like 8 or 9 sets of pulls to do, and they're all really heavy. Do you want to come in with me? And he just went, yes. And he just sacked everything he was about to do off. He did my percentages, which I didn't expect him to do. I said, look, these are at 90%, 95%, or no, 90%, 100%.
Not of your 1 rep max.
Yeah, off my stuff. So
how strong is he?
So he's a good athlete. I think he snatched 101 and then cleaned 140. I think he's clean jerk 140 or 135.
Is he the one that passed out on that video?
Yeah, that's Tom Eaton. Yeah. But he was just like, the polls and stuff like that were way over his percentage, and he just jumped in with me, and he was just great.
Yeah.
But what I want to talk about is the importance of those sessions. So the gritty volume sessions that you don't really want to do. We talked about it with Lauren in terms of your high rocks thing, but I don't have that in my locker. I'm not going to sit on the rower for 3 hours or whatever and just sit and take it. My type of gritty volume is, right, okay, I've got 8 sets to do and that's it. Yeah. Now, first of all, what I have to say to all my athletes is, don't ask to do less, just do it. You'll feel so much better for just going, okay, I'm not going to stop. It might take me a while, it might take me longer than it usually does, but I'm not going to settle for anything less than those 4 sets or 5 sets or 6 sets, whatever it is. They're there for a reason, and they're there for both physical and mental toughness. So building a resilience of, you've done 4 squats, your legs are in bits, you're standing there thinking, Jesus Christ, I've got 1 more to do. And if I make it, I've made the set. If I don't make it, I've missed the set. That pressure in your training is building your entire sort of resilience towards heavy lifts or max efforts or just whatever sport you're going to do. Yeah. So if you're pushing that hard, and even if you fail it, you fucking fail it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? If you've got 5 squats, like yesterday, I had 5 squats to do. I did my 5 squats. It told me to go up. I said, okay, I'm going to go up. I know I'm not going to get 5 because the last 5 was absolutely like on the limit, but I'm still going to go for it anyway. I got 3. I failed, but I still went, I'm not going to not do this set. Yeah. I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to just ride the wave.
You still got 3 heavy reps.
Yeah, and you still got that 3. If I just turned around and gone, that set there, that was really heavy, and now it's telling me to go up and maybe I should stop. Well, then as soon as I stop, I've backed out.
Yeah.
That is you walking up to your clean and backing out.
I think when you start doing it though, it's a slippery slope because you've set the standard then for it's okay to do this. And then the other way to look at it is, well, if you've done, you built up your sets of 5 and you hit 150 for a heavy set of 5 front squats and you put 155 on and you only make 3, how much of a difference is making that set of 3 and not doing it at all? And you think, in the grand scheme of things, in this one isolated session, it's not that much of a difference. But like we said, if you play out those additional sets that you go for once a week over 5 years, you've got 250 additional sets that you've gone for. That does make a difference. That makes a hell of a difference. And I think I remember doing programs, especially when I got into training, and it says 3 sets of 5, and I do 3 sets of 5, and then it said 4 sets of 5, and I do 4 sets of 5, and then it would say 5 sets of 5, and I'd think, 4's all right. I'll do 4. Like, the volume is there for a reason. There are programs that specifically build in volume throughout the week, so they'll wave up and they'll wave back down. So it'll be 3 sets of 15, 4 sets, 5 sets, 6 sets of 15, back down to 4, 5, 6. And they're there for a reason. So when you step back and look at the program, it makes sense because of those sets. And then if you said to someone, right, Charlie, you've done 5 sets of 5 squats yesterday. Which was the most important set of squats, or which was the hardest set, or which one challenged your body the most? It's the last one. You have to do what's written down. And the last set is always more important than the previous one.
And another thing as well is, don't turn to me and say, look, I know you programmed 5s, but I went up and I did 3. If you're going to go up, do 5. The program said 5. If you've got enough energy to turn to me and say, look, I did my 4 sets of 5, and then on the last one I put 5 kilos on and I only did 3. Don't put the extra 5 kilos on then. Do the 5. The last set, like you said, is the most important one. But I've done it in my own training where I use this, and again, I don't suggest this, but I use this as a little bit of a mental toughening skill for myself, where if I've got something that I don't want to do, like heavy pulls, heavy squats, heavy whatever, I've done it on cleans as well, that's really tough to do, is if I've got a set left or 2 sets left and I'm sat there and I'm being a bit of a bitch about it and I'm kind of going, oh God, I don't want to do this set. I really don't want to do this set. Without thinking, I'll go over and put 2.5 kilos more on or 5 kilos more on. And I'll just go, well, now you got to work hard. Now you've got to do it. And I will do that full set, that next rep, and I will sit there afterwards and I'll go, good. You broke that cycle of, I was just sat there being a little kind of bitch to myself going, oh, do you really want to do this, or get distracted by your phone, or maybe change the song, or fuck that. Put the extra bit on if you need that. Like, I've done it. One of the best things I have ever done for me was I was doing cleans, and at the time I was really sort of nervous around cleans, really nervous for whatever reason. I can't even remember, but I was really, really nervous, and I got a video of it. It was a Sunday. I wasn't meant to be hitting heavier cleans. I hit 135 and it moved really well. And I thought, right, I'm putting 140 on. I don't care what happens, I'm putting 140 on. I did 140 and a part of my brain went, just stop there, you've gone above, that's brilliant. And I went, no, I'm gonna fight that, I'm gonna put 145 on. Did 145 and my brain went, just stop there, it's okay. You've almost proved your point. And I was like, no, the one I'm really afraid of is 150. I'm going to put 150 on and I'm going to be afraid. I'm going to sit there and I'm just going to be afraid. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to just expose myself to looking at 150 on a bar, sitting there going, I've got to go clean that in a second because I put it on the bar now and I've got people here and they don't give a fuck if I clean it or not, but I'm putting that pressure on myself. Went there, absolutely smoked the 150 clean, stood up and I was like, oh, like the relief from that feeling of I've forced myself into that uncomfortable position. In terms of physically, it was actually all right. The clean looked really nice, but emotionally, it was so taxing to go, keep going. And then, there was a video afterwards, like in the same video, I walk over to Sarah at the time and I'm like, I really didn't want to fucking do that. I was like, I really do. And she was like, I know, I could see. And I was like, I really fucking didn't want to do that, but I forced myself. And then from that point on, I think I cleaned 150 2 or 3 more times. And it was fine. It was like, okay, now I'm going to do it and it's not scary. But it's that grittiness of not taking anything less. And when it's scary, you've almost got to go, put more on, or you've just got to settle it. And when it's gritty, when it's hard, just do the fucking number, man.
Do you find it harder with Olympic lifts to do that? Because I always found if it was a bench or a squat or a deadlift or any lift that you can almost grind your way through, I wouldn't be afraid of it. If I knew I was going to fail 200, right? But I was like, I am going for this anyway.
Yeah.
I'm okay with getting under it, and I would give it everything, and I might make it, or I might fail it if I'm too fatigued or whatever. But with a clean or a snatch, you've got the option. So you start the lift and then you just pull it and don't go anywhere with it. There would be almost like a bit of a mental disconnect. I always found it so much harder trying to apply yourself to something if you've already talked yourself out of it with Olympic lifts as opposed to a deadlift, for example, because you can just pull and pull and pull and pull, and as long as you're not rounding your back over.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I've never been afraid of a squat or a bench or a deadlift. I've been excited and nervous and a bit anxious about it, going, oh, is this the day? But I've never gone, oh, I'm afraid to pick this up off the floor, or I'm afraid to try this squat, or I'm afraid to try this bench, because it just feels to me that it's, okay, if everything's in the right place at the right time and I feel strong enough, I'll lift it. If it doesn't, it ain't going to come off the floor. It isn't going to fucking do anything anyway. So, the whole aspect of the weightlifting thing, you have to have a lot of trust in your own ability before you even go for big lifts. So you have to be able to, it's a skill in itself. I'm quite lucky now that I don't really fail lifts by just deadlifting them. I'll fail lifts actually going for them. And even if I'm miles off it, I will actually try and put myself there, because I trust my technique enough to go, it should last. My technique should last. And if my strength fails me, then I'm not going to get under it anyway, and I'll just get spat out or whatever. But the thing for people is, like you said, is when you talk yourself out before you've even approached the bar. If you're doing that to yourself, my message to you is don't lift it. If you've already decided, like there is times where you will go mental battles where you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Yes, I can fucking do it. Or I'm nervous. Yeah, but I'm excited. And you'll be sat there. And like I said, with that 150 clean, I was sat there and all of that was going on in my head. And I was just like rattling. Like my body was just in a state of like, you can't do it. Yes, you can. You're going to smoke it. No, you're not. Blah, 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 blah. And then it was like, as soon as I stepped up to the bar, that went quiet. And I went, I know my cue. This is my cue.
You can't lie to yourself, can you? If you're walking up to a bar and you know full well in your head, I haven't got this.
Just step away. Just leave it.
You're not going to do it.
There's very, very little chance of you've got a 99% chance of missing that lift. You've got like a 1% chance in a blue moon that you go, I don't think I can do this. And you just end up pulling it or whatever, and you just about make it. Sometimes it works, but 99.99999% of the time you're going to miss that lift.
I've always really respected people who would. Do you remember Jordan Purcell?
Yeah.
So he was really, really good at, I'm fucking throwing myself under this regardless. And he would just get to the point where the limiting factor in what he would lift and what people who are really confident in themselves would lift would be their front squat, because he'd get under a clean, catch it solid, and just not stand it up. And I thought, well, all you got to do is just get stronger, because you haven't got an issue with getting under that. That's fantastic.
The mental strength is there.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's with other things as well. I don't know if you've ever like skateboarded or things like that, where it's just people will just commit themselves to something and not know the outcome, but they are all in the process of committing, rather than like half-assing something.
So I see it all the time in my lifting classes, and I say to beginner athletes all the time, and when they get it and they understand it, all of a sudden they click and they go, wow. The main reason why you get hurt in Olympic lifting is because you hesitate, is you're trying to feel the weight land or feel the weight above your head. You're trying to feel it there, and it's such a quick movement that you can't feel it. So if you get someone who's like struggling with saying, oh, I can't get under a bar, but they can do it with a lightweight, well, you can do it with a heavy one. The heavy one, what you're basically trying to do is you're pulling to a certain point, you're trying to feel it there, go, oh, it's okay, and then you commit. And the amount of times, literally every Saturday, I'll say to at least someone or multiple people in the class, I'll say, look, every time you hesitate, what you're doing is you're putting more pressure through your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, your neck, your hips, your ankles, because you're trying to physically hold this big weight in an awkward position, then go, oh, it's all right, actually, and then commit to a comfortable position. And as soon as I say, like, I might even take a video this Saturday if someone does it, and I'll say, the commitment that you show to the lift will save you.
Yeah.
The lack of commitment will injure you.
It's almost like you have to anticipate it already being there and just go in as if you've already made it.
The surprise of catching a snatch shouldn't be there realistically. If you think about it logically, like if you do the right thing from the floor, if you do the right thing through the second pull, if you do the right thing through the transition phase, everything should be in the right position for you to say, it's going to be there, and you're going to boop, and you're going to be under it. But people kind of do all of that bit right and then go, oh, I just want to feel it, and you can't. It's such a quick movement, especially in cleans as well, because it's a big weight and it's going to land on me, it's going to crush me. It only lands on you or crushes you or gets you into those positions if you're not committed to the position. If you get, halfway down and you're kind of going, oh, I want to kind of feel it, well, then nothing is in the right position. So that's when then it like hits you like a fucking ton of bricks.
Yeah,
you know
you've
what I mean?
seen it when someone's already keeled over and they're catching it in like 2 fingers, everything's smashed up here, and then, oh, my wrist's broken now.
Yeah, it's like prawned, your elbows are touching your knees. And that is purely not because of a strength thing. A lot of the time it's not even because of a strength thing or a speed thing or a mobility thing. It's purely because you're trying to feel your way through. And the chalk and cheese effect of, like, it's brilliant watching it because you'll see someone go, I get it now. Because they'll snatch and they'll be kind of catching it really high, wobbling around and then going down into the squat. And I'll say, right, look, you're hesitating. You need to commit to this, because they might say to me, I'm hesitating because I've got a bit of a shoulder niggle. And I'll say, this is making it worse. Stop doing this. And they'll go, okay. And then they'll snatch. They'll go straight down into the bottom of the snatch. They'll come out and they'll go, 1, my shoulder didn't hurt, but 2, the snatch just felt like a breeze. And it's great to see,
It's committing to a rugby tackle, isn't it? You get hurt when you half-ass it.
Exactly that. I
was going to say, speaking of rugby,
Wales are shit, and they will be shit for the next 10 years.
Do you know what? I didn't even watch it. Was it Saturday?
Sunday.
No.
Sunday against Argentina.
Moving house. Didn't even bother.
I wish I was moving house with you, mate, because I watched it, and it's the one. I love being Welsh. I love Welsh rugby. I love the fact that the national anthem brings me hope, and I'm like the typical Welshman of before the game I'm like, nah, we're gonna get slammed, we're gonna get smashed, and then the lead up to the game I'm speaking to other boys and I'm like, oh, maybe we've got a good side, we could do it. And then by the time we get to the national anthem, all of a sudden I'm like, we're gonna win the fucking World Cup, this is the best national anthem of all time, we're incredible. And then it kicks off and then the reality sets in and you're just watching. People call it silly mistakes, but I think you can say it's silly mistakes once.
Yeah.
Like a silly mistake, you go, oh mate, sorry mate, I didn't mean to hit you then.
Yeah.
If I just kept doing that, oh sorry mate,
it's
that's not a mistake.
They're doing it.
They're doing the same things wrong every game and losing in the same fashion every game. So people say, it was promising signs. Promising signs. They put fucking 50 points on us. There's nothing promising about conceding 50 points. So before I go off the hinge and start talking like it's a rugby podcast, we'll move on. But we've got Japan this weekend.
Mate, Japan, the thing is though, Japan used to not be a good team. And then I can't remember what it was, the World Cup or so.
South Africa.
Was that the one?
Yeah.
When they did so much training before building up to it with just ball carrying. So they were so good at set plays. They got, was it like the semis they got to?
So I will tell you
which might end up being a rugby podcast. So I've never played rugby to any fucking serious degree, but... they beat South Africa 34-32. Yeah, but in 2015. And it was incredible. Well, 10 years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. South Africa, just fucking unreal.
I was going to say, they're best team in the world now.
But yeah, so that's my update on Welsh rugby.
Don't bother.
Yeah, going into a bit more of the Olympics from last week. So last week we talked about the weightlifting weight categories being changed and moved around and lots of things that are happening before the is it LA, in it? LA Olympics? Yes, LA 2028 LA. Yeah, so before the Olympics. And now they've made a thing of transgender athletes to be kicked out of the Olympics.
Right, I've never had this argument in person, I haven't even had it online, with anyone who doesn't agree with my side of you cannot compete in women's sports if you were born a biological man. I can't get my head around the argument for it. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to, as a biological woman, compete against men, if you really want to do that, I don't have a problem with it. No. I have a problem in the sense that it can't go both ways, but you've got no advantage if you were playing, or if you were weightlifting. Let's use weightlifting as the example. Yeah. It's not going to help you at all. Yeah. Whereas there is a massive, obvious advantage as to men competing against women.
Yeah. It's such an obvious topic, I think, for people to talk about, other than, like, the athletes themselves don't want it. So it's like, I just think my argument for anything to do with it was, if you're not an athlete, don't say yay or nay. If you're an athlete, I think let the athletes decide. And if the majority of the athletes, women athletes, go, look, we don't want male athletes in this sport, fair enough. It's a female dominated, it's a female sport, and that's what I mean. So it's like the people who are saying, yes, they should be allowed, you're not competing against them. Yeah. You're not an athlete, you're not in the Olympics. You know what I mean? So I just think it's such an obvious topic that it's wild that it's only just...
I can't even believe it was there in the first place. Like, it doesn't bother me in the sense that I don't really care.
No, I don't care.
In the sense if they had we got male category, female category, sound.
Have a transgender category.
If you wanted a transgender category, I'm not going to watch it, but that is fine if you want to have that and if you want to compete.
Doesn't matter.
I haven't got a problem if someone says, look, I'm transgender, I'll go, okay, that's fine. That doesn't mean you can't be friends or whatever. But if you were born a man and you've had 15, 10, 20, however many years of testosterone through your body and the bone density, everything that comes with it, it's just an unfair advantage. Yeah. And I get that life isn't fair. Like, I'm not going to be LeBron James. I'm not going to play in the NBA. But there are lines that aren't crossed in the sense of gender. Even if I was playing devil's advocate and you said, right, Sam, you make the argument for transgenders, it would only be because people's feelings were going to be hurt. But, all right, the person who is competing as a woman now, their feelings might be hurt. But if my daughter has committed 20 years of her life swimming 8 times a week to make the Olympic team and her place is taken by a biological man, is that worse?
And it's also as well, it's the thought process behind... Right, okay, so if this male, let's say this male is a very, 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 very good swimmer, very good swimmer, one of the best male swimmers in the world. If he was allowed to then compete in the female sport, obviously, if he's setting quicker times or he's one of the best male athletes, then when he goes into those female races, those world records, those Olympic records, those national records, they're going to be dominated by someone who's not even the same sex. So you'll never get then someone to go, okay, the next female world record holder is...
No, it's going to be there for years.
A female. It's just going to be there for literally, once it's set, once it's set, it's pretty much set in stone.
Unless, like weightlifting, they change the weight class, I get that. But it is never, the best swimmer in the world. Michael Phelps never competed as a woman. Obviously, I'm not saying Michael Phelps can just decide I'm a woman now and do it just for the sake of it. But was it Leah Thomas, the swimmer? I don't know what his name was, but
the American.
I think she was Australian.
Oh no! Yes, sorry. Yes, I'll
just Google Leah Thomas swimmer. Pull that up. But it was like a very, as far as I'm aware, off the top of my head, a very average male swimmer was just dominating the women's leagues, and it's never like
her.
That's one.
Yeah,
sorry, him.
Yeah, him. Yeah, American swimmer, Leah Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a public podcast, and everyone's beating around the bush, but he was born a man. I don't. Does he still have
just unfair
penis or?
Fuck knows. It's just unfair. It's just unfair, man. I think it's good. I think if you want to have your own category. Fine. If you don't, also fine. It's
keep
just
men out of women's sports. Yeah. I'm all for that.
Especially, I just think it's fair. Remember the boxing?
Oh, right.
That's
this is the
insane.
thing, though. No. Right. So this is the thing. That was a biological woman, born as a woman. She just got dealt a very good hand of slightly higher testosterone.
Oh no,
what are you?
I get that. Yeah, that's nuts. I'm just in general, like you see online, and it's it's like the UFC where it's like one man against 3 females in some like Russian
that's
fight
definitely not the UFC.
And you're like what the fuck is going on here?
In combat sports, it's even worse. In the same way, everything with steroids as well. If Barry Bonds wants to take gear and hit a home run, fair enough. But when you got Brock Lesnar beating the piss out of Mark Hunt, that is a court case. Yeah. So the boxing one, there was a male who competed against women who ended up beating the piss out of everyone, and then a female who was actually much better at kickboxing than him beat him up. So sort of he got his comeuppance. But do you remember at the Olympics there was that she was from Algeria, some sort of country in that direction. So she was basically born as a woman, never had any gender transformation surgery, nothing. She was just given a really good hand in the sense of genetics, a slightly higher testosterone, a little bit more of a male face structure. But she was a woman. She didn't. She just was a woman that was just better than the other women at boxing and was genetically gifted.
Yeah, she was
So
Algerian.
I was having this argument with people who would usually be on my side of keep men out of women's sports, and I was like, this woman's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Like if I was given a God-given gift to just be really good at swimming, I'm going to be a swimmer.
Use it. Yeah. No. Yeah, that's totally fair.
There was a runner years ago as well who I was young at the time. I remember my mum and dad watching it on the Olympics, and she was like a 400 or 800 meter runner, and they were on about banning her because she had higher than normal testosterone levels. But they said it was natural testosterone that she had. She had higher levels than the other women she was competing against. And I thought, she's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
She hasn't. I'm okay with that. But if you're born a man, you compete in male sports or you don't compete.
Yeah, just scrap it. Yeah. No. You mentioned there saying I'm not going to be the next LeBron James. Right. So this is.
Are you telling me I am?
So this is following on to something that I see an awful lot on Instagram. And one of the positive things around Instagram, Instagram can be positive in lots of ways, and then in lots of ways horrendous. But this culture of challenge culture on Instagram, I don't know if you see it.
What's that?
It's kind of like I'll see. I follow a guy who basically he was 30 years old, and he gave himself the challenge on Instagram of basically never played rugby, but he was built like a rugby player, just played football all his life, and said, I've always wanted to have a go at rugby, I really want to go and play it for a team. Never doesn't know the rules, doesn't know anything about it, and he's like, fuck it, I want to go and do it. So then he starts playing rugby for a team, and then he's like, look, now I want to try and get better at rugby, and I want to try and perform to an academy. And his end goal is to one day play for England. He's 30, but he started it, and he's by all means, he's actually really good. Like, he's genetically built for it. He documents his training. He documents how he's going to transition. Documents him learning how to play rugby.
Transition into a rugby player.
And then shows him training with the rugby team, plays his matches, and he gives live commentaries over the games and stuff like that. And he's really good. But he's really fun to see. He's a 30-year-old guy. He's a very fit guy, but they don't know what position he can play. So because he's never played it before, he's just going in with an open mind. And they're like, right, can you play flanker? And he's like, what do you want me to do? And he just gets sent in. And then the next game, they're like, actually, you're really quick, so let's play you centre or winger. And he's like, okay, I'll just go do that. And his goal is, he keeps saying it, and whether he gets it or not, he probably won't. But who knows? He might do.
I want him to. I'm all for this.
It's great because I'm watching it, and it's great to follow along. And you go, and his goal is, I want to play for England, or I want to get to a certain level of playing professional, semi-professional. At 30 years old, and there's so many challenges now that I see on Instagram. Whether it's for a charity or whether it's for just because they're like, oh, you know what, I really want to do this, I'm gonna go do it. I saw
it's usually white collar boxing that people get.
White collar boxing, or it'll be some two lads, I think from Australia, ran the length of the UK for cancer research, because they're grandma had cancer and they documented it all, but he had this massive blood infection, and they didn't know whether he was going to be able to complete it, and he managed to complete it. And it was you watch the challenge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was I stumbled across it, and a couple of people that I follow him, and this I think is really cool. I don't know if you ever saw it back in the day, where there was some African weightlifters who would lift outside, and it would be second-hand plates, second-hand bars,
pallets,
on pallets. but they would just be phenomenal weightlifters.
Yeah.
Like they would be clean and jerking some serious weights and snatching some serious weights. And it was just like a testament to, you do what you can with what you got, and you can still be an incredible athlete or an incredible thing, weightlifter, whatever it is. And I stumbled across this guy called Fit with Desi on Instagram, so shout him out. He's an Indian runner. Okay. And he basically, you know, like that, what's his name? The guy,
Hall?
Ashton Hall, the guy who says like, this is my day, and he does like 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
The water guy.
Yeah, water guy, yeah. So this kid, he's a 400 meter runner, and he basically starts every video, and in his house, he's got like this picture of the Olympic rings, and he's like, I want to be at the Olympics running 400 meters, and this is the time I'm going to run. So he like states it. And then he just goes through his day, and it's like the most, he just works. He's just like on a farm, on the field, milking cows. But then in between, he's doing like A's and B steps. And then he's doing like 500 meter runs through this field. And he's actually
microdosing training between.
Yeah,
work.
he's like everything. He's like, but he's taking it so seriously with what he's got. But he's got nothing. So he's like, he's like on the foam roller, and he's doing like yoga. And then he's doing like an ice bath, but it's like a bucket that he's just got his feet in and his calves in. And it's just like, I watched it and I thought, that is a testament to, like, we've got so much shit. Like, look at like in this room, we've got enough shit in this room around us to become an Olympic athlete.
But I was literally overlooking at the stuff you got earlier.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is cool.
You know, we've got in the corner, we've got axle bars, we've got slow eccentric squat pins, we've got barbells, we've got dumbbells, you've got bench press, you've got jerk blocks, you've got pull-up bars, you've got kettlebells, you've got medicine balls. Like,
more than enough than
we could. If I give that to him, he'd be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And he's training in some like really like old gym with metal plates and bars that don't spin, but he's still producing this like documentary style, like, I'm gonna get to the Olympics.
Is the point of, because we said about the rugby guy first, and now there's the Indian guy who is just like work ethic. Obviously, ideally you'd have both of them, but is the point genetics are more important or work ethic?
I think it's just, you've got to have that want to do it.
Yeah.
The want gets rid of everything. So like this Indian guy, like he shows his meals, he shows his work, and he's like up at 4 a.m, and then he's like milking cows, and then he's like running up and down the sheds doing like fucking A's and B's, and then he's eating like this tiny meal that's like very basic, but it's enough for him to, and it's just like, he's living the basic life, but in between his basic life, he's doing something that's like extraordinary.
Yeah.
But it's, you, like I said, if you turned around, obviously your circumstance is totally different to maybe the guy who said, oh, right, okay, I'm 30 years old, I want to become a fucking rugby player for England.
Yeah.
But nothing is really stopping you.
If you held the gun to my head,
you just have to be very selfish in your way to do it.
There would always be a trade-off. Like if I said, right, I'm going to commit 3 hours a day every day now to becoming an Olympic weightlifter, like I wouldn't be in work. I probably wouldn't pay my mortgage. I can't imagine my family would hang around if I'm training for 18 hours a week and not doing what I need to be doing. So obviously that's not what I want to do. But when you said about the guy who had like a really good base for rugby, I thought about, so 2 things. The first one was when we on about training kids and teenagers, like having a massive base of being fast, strong, fit, athletic, springy, all of these attributes. You can do whatever sport you want to a degree. Obviously, again, the LeBron James things, I'm not 6'8", I'm probably not playing basketball, but nor do I want to.
Yeah.
And then when you said, again, the same story about the same guy, Brock Lesnar. Went from amateur wrestling, he was a NCAA champ, I want to say, off the top of my head, WWE, NFL, UFC.
Yeah.
Like he has literally done, obviously didn't make the NFL team, and then he went to training for MMA. But for someone to just show up and just have a go and then like not know what to do with him, but him be so good in all these different positions, that's what it comes to. And again, wrestlers will have a really, really good base as children, which that was obviously his start. Really strong, really fast, really fit. And then like the Indian guy grew up on a dairy farm. That work ethic is there. I remember Jocko Willink was saying a story before, and they said, who was like the most hardworking person you ever had go through buds? And he said there was a young man there who came from like Nebraska or somewhere, and everything they said, he's like, yes sir, yes sir, did everything they wanted. And then in the end, he sort of asked him, he's like, what's your story? He's like, you've done everything we've asked of you and more. And he said, sir, I will do whatever you ask of me. Just do not send me back to that dairy farm.
Yeah.
So I will do anything. I'm not milking another cow as long as I live.
Yeah.
Because it's every morning, every night,
monotonous,
birthdays, Christmas. Like the work ethic is there. So I think if you can instill that as well in kids who have a bit of a genetic gift to anything, or even teenagers or young adults,
Yeah.
it's better as kids though. They're going to go far.
Yeah. It's just the point as well for me was it was just nice. It's just nice to see that you get lots of things now, and it's like when you're over the age of 30, when you're over the age of 35, when you're over the age of 40, it's like it's suddenly you see so many things where it's like, oh, your life's over, you can't do this, you can't do that, and then it's just nice to see people around you, even if they're not around you in your circle, maybe online, that are older. And I know when I say older, everyone who's older than me will always go, whoa, you're not old, but I'm as old as I'm going to be right now, and I feel old.
This is the oldest I've ever been.
My body is fucked. So,
and the youngest I will ever be again, which is really sad.
So it's I get you're going to say, oh, well, I'm 45, and fair enough, you're 45. I'll get there hopefully one day. But it's just nice to see that, you've got these people who aren't afraid to just go, oh, you know what? I would love to do something like that where you just go, oh, you know what? I fancy doing that. I've always fancied doing that. I've never had maybe the time or the courage or even just the experience to go do it. Or maybe you just think, oh, it's way too far gone. Yeah. And then you just go,
I'm past it.
I'm going to go straight into it.
In this day and age, like when my dad always says when he was younger, fitness wasn't a massive thing. No one went to the gym. No one really cared. But now you see so many people who, get into their 40s and they have a bit of whether it's an epiphany or a midlife crisis, but they get in the best shape of their life at 40 years old. It might be. Like when I'm 40, I'm going to have a teenager, a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. Like maybe I'll get more time back than I have now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be in better shape at 40. Yeah. Maybe I'll be 50. Who knows? But just getting older doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily be in a worse shape.
You have to just slow down. And,
I mean, some of my I'm trying to share more positive videos on Instagram because all I see at the minute is doom and gloom.
It's cool.
And some of my favorite ones are like elderly people, so retirement age, still. Maybe not like boxing and things
slogging
like that.
away at something.
But
training, CrossFit.
Rowing world records for their age, or they're deadlifting, 100 kilos, 120. I've seen a 90-year-old man deadlift like 130 and you think...
just not giving up.
Yeah. Like there is hope for us, and you can have a good, healthy life, obviously a bit of luck along the way. But it doesn't have to be downhill from there.
No. I think following on from that 190 deadlift, the big deadlift at 90. One of the things that we wanted to bring back was what's the best thing you've seen this week, or the craziest thing you've seen this week? Because there's been quite a lot of crazy shit. In the weightlifting scene.
Was it Olivia Reeves?
Yeah, so Olivia Reeves with a 500-pound squat. So
it's
more than
insane,
like a deadlift, which is just fucking.
And the other thing is, you see things on Instagram. You can do more than that. The things you see on Instagram, everyone goes, oh yeah, but it's Instagram, it's not real, or they're on steroids. She is an American drugs tested weightlifter. I would, bet my house that she is natural.
If there's going to be a clean athlete, it's going to be American, it's going to be British, it's going to be French, it's going to be somewhere in Europe that you're going to...
Georgia, Iran, Russia.
So if she is going to be... drug-free, which I think she is. You look back and she posted a video the other day where it was one of those memes where it's like, when my mum and dad watch me weightlift, this is who I think they see and this is who they actually see. And it's just a wholesome video of her as like a really young kid, and very, very small, very young age, still on the competition platform, snatching and missing and clean and jerking and crying and things like that, and clean and jerking and breaking a national record. And you watch the video and you go, that's where it's come from. Like, we're seeing the result now of decades of really hard and horrible work, and she's now profiting in it.
And now imagine her parents seeing her spot taken by a biological man who couldn't get it as a man.
Yeah, that's criminal.
That's heartbreaking.
That's criminal. And she back squatted 500 pound, which was
I can't do
amazing. That. Yeah, I definitely can't do that. And it's just with her, she's such an amazing athlete that you just go, what next? Like, how dominant can she be? She's already world record holder now. Obviously, the weight category is going to change. Will she break the next world record? Probably. If she stays fit and healthy. What is she going to squat next? Is she going to squat? Does she need to squat over 500 pounds? You know what I mean? what is her limits in her body, which is, I don't know. It's amazing to see anyway, Olivia. She's a fucking machine.
The most impressive thing I've probably seen is definitely not a natural man. The arm wrestler, the Dennis, I forgot his surname, but it begins with a C. So my friend Anthony, my friend Anthony, who very kindly sponsors the podcast, he's Ukrainian.
Ukrainian, yeah. Dennis, Big D.
So he has got the biggest arms and forearms I've ever seen. I'm sure he beat Devon Larratt at arm wrestling.
Yeah, but then Devon fucking smashed him the second time.
So basically, I try and send Anthony videos or show him videos to do with grip strength because he's really into rock climbing. So it's Juji Mufu and Magnus, the rock climber, I forgot his name, trying to smash nuts with their hand. And then Dennis, whatever his surname is just doing one after another of cracking these nuts between his thumb and his bent index finger and smashing them apart. You know the ones you need nut crackers for? That. Yeah. And then after that, he places one on the table, he puts his palm down on top of it, pulls his finger back, and then smashes it apart with his finger. I think, imagine if that man grabbed a hold of you, what he would do to you just by squeezing you with his hand.
Yeah, he's got 24.8-inch biceps.
That's insane.
And 48 centimetre forearms. So what's that? 48
UK
centimetres in inches. 18-inch forearms.
That's insane.
Nearly 19-inch forearms.
That is absolutely
insane. And his hands are just like
that's
saucers.
That's a big arm.
They're like 45-pound plates or 20-kilo plates. He's just an absolute freak.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, from one strength aspect, you've got Abdo. So Abdo finally got his world record. Finally snatched a world record of 160. I say finally. He got no rep at the Worlds, and it was a big controversy over should we get rid? It always happens. Someone nearly breaks a world record, and it's a press out, and everyone goes, we need to get rid of the press out rule because it was a world record, and there was a lot of media hype around it. But the Egyptian weightlifter finally did it. So he snatched 166 kilos, and he's also got the world record total now after clean and jerking 196.
What weight class is he now?
79.
Okay.
So his world record total is 362. Now the mad thing with him is he's still very young, and the hype around him is massive. So he's come out with some absolutely monstrous lift, like snatch 170 in the training halls and done all sorts of crazy squats, and the hype around him is massive. Now, Egypt had Mohamed Ihab Youssef. So they also had him back in the day. So he was an older lifter who's since retired. And he was, again, a massive figurehead for the sport. And he was very, very popular with fans. And he had the same kind of characteristics as Abdo has now. So he's very loud, very sort of people call it maybe brash, kind of like the puff your chest out kind of, I am the man. And rightfully so, because Mohamed Ihab was incredible. And he was one of the best on the planet, if not, up there with the best on the planet. So the questions now are being asked already in Abdo's career, is he going to be the next?
Well, did Mohamed Ihab have the world record in the snatch and the total?
Yeah, so Mohamed, so he had world records to himself. He had records to himself, but he was in an era which was, you had Liu Xiaojun in his prime.
I was going to say, I remember. It's sad when you say he's now an older retired weightlifter, because in my head, if I went to weightlifting, it would still be like him, Liu Xiaoyang in the training hall, and it's 2015 and I'm not actually 31.
Yeah, so you're already looking at Abdo now going, are you going to be dominant like Mohamed was? However, he's got a way to go with the clean and jerk. So his snatch is above, but his clean and jerk is below. So there's all this now back and forth with because realistically with him now, the pressure is on the snatch. So if he doesn't snatch well, he ain't going to make it up in the clean and jerk.
Yeah.
And you get athletes like that. What's his name? Jason Lopez.
They can't claw it back after they've already made a mistake.
So Jason Lopez, a Colombian weightlifter, absolutely phenomenal snatcher, held world records in the snatch, and he's beaten some of the biggest weightlifters on the planet in the snatch. But then when it goes into the clean and jerk, he falls back.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, you go, right, Jason's got an incredible chance of winning here, but even if he snatches at his best, there's not a guarantee that he won't lose.
Why
the
is
clean
that?
and jerk.
Why are some people so proficient at one of the movements? Because they're not massively like dissimilar. Why is it like they're built different?
Yeah, it can be. You look at the two movements, you know, it can be something just confidence-wise. And it's hard to shake the stigma as well of, you know, you hear the term, like, oh, he's a snatch specialist. Well, it kind of then means, well, your clean and jerk is poor, but your snatch is fucking incredible. And once you're kind of labelled as that, it's quite hard to then go, well, I'm going to get myself out of that, you know? And also, a lot of people would say then, okay, if you are a snatch specialist, be so good at the snatch that you are so much better than everyone else that then when you get to the clean and jerk, you can almost rely on what you've already done. But then it does put so much more pressure at the start of the competition.
Yeah, there's a thing with powerlifting, and they have like, it's always memes about it where they'll have a deadlift specialist, and it's just a video of like Slender Man.
Yes,
because you'll have someone who has like an okay squat, and their bench probably isn't great. So if you're a really good deadlifter, it usually means proportionally your arms are so long that when you set up for the deadlift, it's like everyone else setting up from a rack pull, because you're already so high.
Your hands are already like halfway down your shins.
Yes. Like imagine if you pulled a deadlift from, you know, 220 plates off the floor.
Yeah.
That's what people are setting up with, because their arms are just longer than yours.
Yeah.
So they'll be behind because the bench is harder because they've got long arms. And then they will just yank. Do you remember his name was Caleb Woolham?
No.
He was like this, not a skinny guy, definitely not a big guy though in the grand scheme of things,
right.
where he would pull like 420 kilos and just come back clutch and just, you know, win because he made up such a deficit on the deadlift. Yeah. So I imagine it's the same, but a little bit less because obviously there's only 2 lifts, but if someone falls behind in the snatch but they got some monster clean and jerk, they can do some damage and make up some ground. Yeah,
it goes into the old saying of like, you know, snatch what you can, clean jerk what you must. But in his case, he has to snatch what he has to snatch everything and then just clean and jerk what you can. You know what I mean? So it's almost the reverse for him.
You're laying all your cards out before. We've probably been going about, well, we've been going an hour now. Yeah. Do you want to go on about that Russian guy? Because that was really interesting.
So this is my my amazing thing of this week. So I stumbled across a video on Wild Hunt Conditioning on Instagram, if you want to go watch it, of a Soviet strongman called Valentin Dekul, I think his name is, if I've pronounced it wrong, hopefully not. And he was performing a neck bridge with 1,540 pounds, and the headline is Soviet strongman Valentin Dekul performs a neck bridge with 1,540 pounds after breaking his spine, diagnosed as a paraplegic and totally paralyzed. And I was like, that's the total opposite. And I watched the video and it is berserk. The guy's in a neck bridge. He's got people standing on top of him. He's got a barbell.
I'm just thinking of like,
I'll show
Stephen
you
Hawkins trying something like this and it not happening.
The story is mental, right? So basically,
I've seen this before. Does he not have them on his knees though?
Yeah,
so it's like a wall sit.
But he's on his neck, so he's in a bridge position. He's got people standing on his knees with a barbell with crazy weight on it. He's then got a barbell in his hands in like a chest press position with people on top of that barbell. And you know, you can say what you want, just having that amount of weight on your body at any point in time.
If anyone as well, if you're questioning what this is, if you have never done a neck bridge, lie on the floor, pull your heels up to your arse and then roll up onto the top of your head, so the only thing touching the floor is the top of your head and your feet. Yeah. And imagine holding some weight.
You're supporting your whole body weight through your neck. So, and when I was reading it, I thought this guy's just absolutely mental.
Is he the one that does the big metal balls and rolls them around his
40 kilo balls. Yeah. So he was basically a circus performer, so like an acrobat, and he had an accident where he fell 40 foot and sustained, it says here, a spinal fracture with complete paralysis below the waist. And doctors basically said to him, you're never going to walk again. It was in 1962, so you can imagine that it's not really the best in terms of like rehabilitation then, you know, and they basically said to him, look, you ain't going to walk again. And he said, well, fuck it, I am going to walk again. And he was hospitalized for 3 years, and then he started experimenting with using like what we would class as like resistance bands and like rehabilitation bands and kettlebells, and he made pieces of equipment which was like homemade.
Sounds like an old Louis Simmons.
Yeah, like a homemade pulley system where it was kind of like moving things to stimulate joints and stimulate his legs and things like that. And they said after 18 months of doing that, he regained sensation through his legs. So he started to regain sensation, which is, first of all, that in itself is amazing. Then in 1970, his recovery went from crawling to standing with braces, then walking unassisted, and then continued to refine his machines. Basically, he rehabbed himself to basically be able to walk again and physically move again, which in itself is an incredible feat of human just grit. Then, 5 years later, he rejoined the circus. So that in itself is just fucking mental. But what happened to him through all the rehab stuff that he was doing, he actually became stronger than he was previously. Because imagine if you went away and did lots of rehab, like your glute work, your quad work, your hamstring work. Yeah. He was doing things that weren't necessarily like popular then. So he was doing like, let's say, a generic gym routine or rehab routine back then. So he came back and he was just a bigger guy, stronger, more physical. And he returned to performance, but he was more of a strength performer. In 1973, between 1973 to 1982, some of his best strength demonstrations. So this is after he came back from paralysis, mind you. Yeah. Squat 882 pounds, deadlift 1,014 pounds, bench press 573 pounds. All whilst in his act, he would do things like he would have a squat cage with people standing in it, and he would just stand the squat rack or squat cage up with them in it. He would juggle 40 kilo balls around, like two 40 kilo balls, and he would do various kettlebell tricks with 80 kilo, 100 kilo kettlebells where he'd be sort of flipping them and spinning them,
and then they go and hand the
balls to the crowd
and watch them hit the floor.
Yeah, and it's a boom. Yeah, and it's just, and then it mentions then he does the neck bridge with 1,540 pounds. Now,
it's just insane.
Just to give you an idea,
the neck bridge years ago was like one of the lifts that, especially in the Soviet Union, years before they were competing in things, that's what they all did. So what this guy reminded me of is what's that for?
That's his deadlift. 460 kilo deadlift for a guy that was paralyzed.
Yeah, I was going to say, but is it? So, what the guy that he reminded me of is a man called Pyotr Krylov, who was in like a Russian traveling circus, and they went through Siberia, so like the harshest place in the world to live. He was born in the 1800s and he died in like 1933 or so. So pre-testosterone, pre-steroids, he was 5'7". And he was a wrestler, so he'd go to all these different ports when they would travel around, and he would wrestle the local sailors and basically beat the piss out of them.
Yeah.
5'7", 90 kilos. He had a 136 kilo bench in a neck bridge. So holding the neck bridge, he'd press 136 kilos. He could do a crucifix so you basically take two kettlebells, hold them above your head, go down to 90 degrees, so you're holding them like an iron cross, and then go back up with 40 kilos in each hand. And he did, so they called him Kettlebell King, that was his nickname. Yeah. And then he did on his left arm, which was stronger, 32 kilo kettlebell. So that fucking kettlebell right by there, he did 86 reps on one arm.
Just pressed.
Unbroken. Wow. It seems like obviously not as strong as that guy.
But
smaller,
it's just
pre-steroids.
Freaky. And the cool thing with this guy, so obviously he's gone full circle from being a circus performer, being an acrobat, so a lighter guy acrobat, crashes, breaks his back, becomes paralyzed, doesn't accept it, rehabilitates himself, so doesn't get help, rehabilitates himself with what he needs to do. But what he's actually become now is a rehab specialist.
Is he still alive?
So in 1982, he's not, I don't think he's alive now, but in 1982, he founded his own rehab center, and they just went all the way across Russia. And his progressive load methods they're still used today in spinal recovery. So what he was doing then for himself is still now
relevant. It's crazy what people can stumble upon and then it be used for so long. without needing anything to change.
Well, it's incredible to think that, you know, you get these amazing stories of, you know, the doctor said I'd never lift my arm again or walk
How many
again.
times have we heard that?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they come back and they find a way and they do it. And I love those stories because it is inspiring and it's incredible.
Yeah.
But he hasn't just gone full circle. He's gone way above and beyond full circle. Like he hasn't gone, I can't walk and now I'm going to walk again. He's actually can't walk, can walk again, and then just chosen
deadlift.
Fuck this! I'm going to deadlift 460 kilos. You're like, mate, you've done enough. It's okay, brother. It's okay. Calm down.
Who hurt you?
But yeah, so that was my most amazing thing I've seen.
Yeah,
and again, it's an old video, and it's on Wild Hunt Conditioning on Instagram. If you want to go watch it, I'll try and
we'll clip that and chuck it on Instagram anyway. For some views.
But yeah, it's just so cool to watch anyway.
Right. Me and Charlie always do this. We got a load of things to talk about, and then we always end up leaving some for the following week, which won't be next week because hopefully we'll have such and such
different things in. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I think that's us for the day.
Sweet. Yeah. So episode 16, happy days.
17.
17.
Nice. Fuck. Right. Thank you guys. If you're looking for a log burner or a stove or anything that resembles that, Usk Stoves,
get in contact.
Yeah. Pontypool.
They have an Instagram now, don't they?
They do have an Instagram now.
Yeah, at Usk Stoves, yeah.
And then for any diet or training related services, Charlie and I both actually have jobs where we don't do this.
Yeah, so just drop us a message.
If we can help anyone out, please don't hesitate. Let us know.
Thank you, guys.